Time now for the markets with Leighton. And Leighton, you say reduced corn and soybean ending stocks was the story of Tuesday's reports?
That's right, Artis, but the markets didn't really show a lot of reaction to that. So, of course, supplies are still ample here, and the South American numbers still look strong as far as production. Now, also ahead today, uncertainty still rules cotton trading. One analyst believes Fed cattle prices may edge up slightly, while chicken profit margins may improve for processors. According to the Cotton Council's 32nd Annual Planting Intention Survey, U.S. cotton acreage will be down about 14.5% in 2015. Now here in Mississippi, the drop in cotton acreage is being pegged at 13.5% compared to last year. Analyst John Roach says he believes we're in what he is calling a sell period now.
We think that if you're holding on to cotton inventories, you need to be selling into the marketplace. We should get a couple more yet before summertime, so we wouldn't maybe sell everything if you're optimistic, but we are in the sell period now. We think incremental sales make best sense because so much depends on the growing season, what's the weather like and so forth. So we'll sell a piece now, we'll sell pieces on additional sell signals as they come along.
As we record this week's program, the wheat market is described as being on the defensive, but prices have improved a bit over the past week. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams told me he thinks that wheat could shift either direction. Brian, the strength of the dollar seems to be down from what it was recently. Is that enabling wheat prices to pick up a little bit here?
I think it is. Over the last several months, we've seen the dollar really gain traction, but it's dropped off a little bit, and I think it seems like that's kind of added a little bit of a boost to our wheat markets.
Well, I know I ask you this when we are here talking about wheat about every time, but it does seem like Russia, the Ukraine, that area, there may be some concerns bubbling back up now about particularly weather?
Yeah, the weather at the moment, it looks like it has been favorable, but it looks like they're expecting a little bit of drier weather, so it's definitely something to watch going forward, but right now there's really no huge concerns at this moment.
As far as where we are in the crop cycle, wheat, many parts of the country about to break dormancy, is that likely a time where prices may strengthen also?
Definitely. It's really the time, this is the time that could shift the market either way. As that wheat comes out of dormancy, there's some concerns in both the southern plains and the northern plains about it being dry there. So if it comes out when the weather's dry, it could hurt the condition of the crop. But on the other hand, if we get a good wet spring, it could really help the condition of the crop.
And for those areas that do have severe winter type temperatures, this would be the time that if there had been weather damage that would become apparent. Right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right, looking ahead here, would you say maybe prices overall have been a little too cheap as far as wheat?
Yeah, looking at the markets, we're at the lowest point that we've had since, or last week we were at the lowest point that we had since last October, so the prices have been kind of at a local, or at least a recent historical low. We've seen them bounce back a little bit since then, but yeah, they've been low compared to where they've normally been.
So as we enter the latter half of February here, what kind of trend might we see then for wheat?
Well, I think there's a lot of room for upward movement, particularly given the dry weather in the plain states, and the dollar weakening a little bit. We've seen some potential movement in the export market as well that could help us.
Our trivia quiz comes this week from the 2013 overview of Mississippi Ag from the USDA. Here is the question. What is the average age now of a Mississippi farmer? Is the answer A, 57, B, 60, C, 65, or D, 70? I have the answer at the end of the markets. CattleFax CEO Randy Black said this week we will begin to see some modest expansion in beef herd numbers now. For this year, he says he expects fed cattle prices averaging in the mid-150s, slightly higher even than 2014. But Black says with the expansion now underway, prices will trend lower in the years ahead than what was seen in 2014. Well, the USDA has raised its pork production estimate for this year by about 1%. Analyst Sue Martin thinks there might still be some enthusiasm, though, as far as the price picture for hogs. Here are her comments.
I think that there's demand for pork. You know, we've got this West Coast issue with the longshoremen and the strike, and it keeps sounding like it's going to get settled. But we've got to keep one thing in mind while we're got stuff backed up to go out, product to go out, we also will then be taking product in. And the dollar has had a 50% retracement of its last major high down to the lows of, what, 2012-13. We've come 50% back on that. So, you know, that sure is enticing, I think, to these foreign countries to ship things here. I think the hog market might still see some enthusiasm yet, but I think it's a hedge if you'd get it.
Tyson Foods said an unexpected increase in U.S. hog supplies would bolster its processing operations this year. Meanwhile, that meat processor said on the chicken side of its business, profit margins will be going up. Lower than expected grain prices in the U.S. will reportedly save the company an estimated $400 million annually. And chicken demand, they say, is going up. Well, before the feature story, let's check out the trivia answer for this week. The correct choice is B. The average age of a Mississippi farmer is now 60, according to 2013 USDA figures.